Hi everybody, so excited to work with you all this year. I only get 10 minutes to go through this on Screencastify, which is the app that I'm using that I plan to use a lot with my students this year. So I am just going to dive right in. So the purpose of this video is to go through the acronym iRace. It came about by combing through release star tests from 2014 to 2018. We were trying to find systematic ways for the kids to approach certain types of questions. And iRace was the only one that stuck because it applies to literally every single question, because it was for comprehension questions originally, but then we realized, okay, well, every question in some sort is comprehension. Do you comprehend what the question is asking you to do? If you do, you can use these steps. So all of these steps will help your kids work through the questions slowly. It'll help them process of eliminate. It will help them provide evidence. And instead of them bringing you papers and you not understanding why they're getting the scores that they're getting, it shows you they're thinking on their paper step by step. So when you're reviewing, when you're trying to pull small groups, when you're thinking, okay, what skill do I need to target? Maybe you need to target those kids who are circling a certain answer choice because they have this common misunderstanding. Right there is a good moment where you can see on paper that all of the students are getting stuck in the reflecting on all the answer choices and analyzing all of the answer choices, and that's where they're getting mixed up, and for certain reasons because they'll have notes on their paper. So it's a good way for pulling small groups. It's a good way for reteaches, so you can just address those common misunderstandings. So iRace stands for investigate, reflect, analyze, claim, and evidence. And as you can see, all of these are academic vocabulary words. That is why we chose these words and why we specifically stick with these words, because it would be easier to give them other words, but academic vocabulary is a huge low point, and we want to make sure we're building that up and making them more comfortable with it. So let's start with investigate. When we're investigating, we're starting with the top of the question. So investigate the question. And this is an activity I might even do with my students. For the sake of time, I've kind of already gone through it and done the heavy lifting and pulled out my synonyms, but I would define what investigate means. And when I was a student, it was easier for me to get a handle and a grip on the words by synonyms. So I would go to thesaurus.com, I would type in investigate right here, and I would show them all of the options they have for learning the word investigate. So consider, examine, explore. Investigating means to inspect. So all of these are telling us that we're looking at it more closely than just reading it. So the ones that I pulled out that I liked were examine, explore, inspect, and I really liked interrogate. And the reason why I really liked interrogate is because if you're questioning a question, you're already thinking about it deeply, and that is what we're aiming for them to do. So this next one is reflect, and what we're reflecting on is all of the answer choices. Okay? ANSWE answers choices. That's wrong. Okay. So reflect on all of the answer choices. Not only are we just reading them, reflect, when I ask my students, they always tell me reflect means to think back. So I would use their train of thought first. Then I would hop over to thesaurus.com, type in reflect very quickly, read through them and ask them, which ones do you like? Which ones resonate with you? Which words do you actually know? So the ones that I pulled out were study, contemplate, and consider. And at the same time, you're building their vocabulary and you're showing them real world, easy ways for them to try and think of better ways to say something, more concise ways to say something. So we're reflecting on all of the answer choices, not just one, not just the one we think is right, but all of them. The next one is to analyze for wrong answers. So analyze for wrong answers. And I give them a little inside scoop into my life. I talk to them about how in my job I have to analyze data. And when I'm analyzing data, I'm not just looking at it, I'm looking at it for a purpose. I'm looking at it to find spots that aren't the best and that I need to bump up. So I'm analyzing with a purpose. So when I typed in on thesaurus.com, I came up with a few. Determine, evaluate, so you're evaluating all the answers. Are they right or wrong? Figure out and dissect. Break them apart, okay? Figure out which ones are right and which ones are wrong. So this right here, I always tell them, aim for 2. Try to get 2 of the answer choices eliminated so that right there you already have a 50-50 shot of getting the answer right if you can get those 2 ones that you think are definitely wrong. It's process of elimination, nothing new. So here is where we claim the correct answer. And when we claim the correct answer, an easy way for them to remember it is they circle. So I put that down there for them, even though claim doesn't necessarily mean circle. So I go, once again, back to thesaurus.com. I type in claim. We talk about all the different words. And the ones that I came up with this time, assert. I like that because you're asserting that this is the right answer. They could use that in a sentence. I assert that C is the correct answer because, and you're starting to get them talking in a way that you want them to. So circle, assert, believe, and declare. I love that one. I declare that this is the correct answer. And I'm an English teacher, but I honestly don't know how I spelled that wrong. It's okay. We all make mistakes, and I like making mistakes in front of the kids. It helps them trust me more. They can laugh at me all they want. They can correct me all they want if it's in an academic manner. So, claim, you're circling the correct answer. And then evidence is the piece to follow up that I love, evidence to prove. So, prove to me that you are right. Show me that you're right. I never let them turn in a paper without proving to me why their answer is correct. Even if it's wrong, at least they have a train of thought for me to look at, and I'm like, oh, okay, I see where you got that, or I see where you were misled. Now I can go back and reteach you easier than trying to figure it out myself. So, words for evidence are confirmation, data, information, prove, it's in there, demonstrate, and illustrate. Miss Kelly last year told me that if they're not able to write it, she has them draw it, which I think is a great strategy because sometimes they just don't have the words. It happens to me all the time. So if they don't have the words, let them just draw it out for you. If they can draw it out, that's showing that they know why they got the answer right, and that's the purpose. And then hopefully later in the year you can scaffold them to start putting their pictures into words, but this is a really great way to get them to get done with explaining their answer. So we have investigate, reflect, analyze, claim, okay? And evidence at the end. All of these are good for learning what your students are learning.